Hello everyone, my name is PokeMaph and this is my first ever Pokemon TCG market analysis video. Today we're going to be looking at the 10 latest Pokemon sets on TCG Player. We're going to check out what their current prices are, any highs or lows they might have formed within the past 1 to 3 months, and we're going to see if we could identify any current market behaviors, as well as try to anticipate what might happen in the future. Now before we continue, I just want to be perfectly clear that I am not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. I'm just a guy who's passionate about Pokemon, economics, and entertainment. I'm also going to be giving away a pack of free Pokemon cards. Just subscribe with the bell, like the video, and comment your favorite Pokemon with the hashtag PokeMaph for a chance to win. Thank you for supporting the channel, and enjoy the video. Okay, so before we get started with the market analysis, I should probably go into a little bit about who I am, since this is the first video that I'm doing on this channel. So again, my name is PokeMaph and it's nice to meet you. And my story is pretty simple. I've been passionate about Pokemon since I was a kid. During my teenage years, I kind of grew out of it, collections, dwindled or sold, ended up getting rid of things here and there. And as time went on, my interest started to develop more in Pokemon again, and now I'm just at a point where I want to start collecting again. I want to collect the cards, I want to collect the games, and now that I'm older, I realize how expensive that can actually be and how much more I'm actually going to need to make in order to, build that dream. So if I want to do that, then the best way for me to do that is to go all in and not just treat Pokemon as a hobby, but treat it as a business. And so I wanted to create a YouTube channel so I can start getting a brand out there, start making videos, start building an audience, and then hopefully it'll all turn around to where we could start building a collection. I would love to get to a point where I can do booster box openings or booster box giveaways or all these great things that you see other YouTubers doing. I would love to be a part of that and do that and, kind of pave my own way in this business and enjoy it as a hobby at the same time. So that's kind of where I'm at. So this is going to be the first episode of taking a look at our weekly market with TCG for Pokemon. We have 10 of the latest sets available. We have Mega Evolutions, we have, I had to scroll up here, Black Bolt, White Flare, scroll up again, Destined Rivals Booster, scroll up, Journey Together, Prismatic Evolution, Surging Sparks, Stellar Crown, Shrouded Fable, and we have Twilight Masquerade. Now remember, I am not exactly an expert. In fact, I have a lot to learn, but I will be taking this knowledge week by week, and hopefully we can start to develop a more accurate frame of what we're looking at. But let's go ahead and start with the Mega Evolutions box. So right now it's listed at $282, okay? So the first thing I'm noticing is that it's way higher than its MSRP, which is sitting around $161. But if we look at the chart here, what's interesting is that the MSRP didn't even really have a chance, because the set released on September 25th, which was around here, and the price was already at $300, which is almost double the MSRP, and that's kind of crazy as it is. But right here you can see a pre-sale. I guess this is a pre-sale. I looked it up on Google AI, and I mean, you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I really don't know, but I'm assuming that this is pre-sales because the set didn't release until September 25th. So I assume there's a little bit of pre-sale volume going on here, which even so is still way higher. It's about $100 higher than the MSRP. And then it shoots all the way up to 346, which is kind of crazy volatility. But at the same time, I guess it's not, because this is a low liquidity market, I guess you could say. 1,500. I don't know. I get I want to say it's low liquidity, but I don't really know to stand on that rock just yet. But nevertheless, I mean, you can see here, the volume really kicks in on release day, because look, we're getting, 247 items sold, 93 items sold, 80 items sold. But after all of that, you can see that price is kind of coming back down. So what I'm wondering is, are we going to revisit this 270 area? And that might happen if this whole crash narrative actually plays out, but I don't think it's going to be an actual crash. I think this would just be a natural correction. Because remember, the MSRP for this box specifically is 161, but there's a lot of high value cards in the box. This is why I want to get back into this, because this is very interesting to me. There's high value cards in the box. Are the cards going to remain valuable? Are they going to increase in value? Are they going to decrease? This is the kind of things I want to look at, because like if I did have, let's say $500 lying around right now and I was looking at buying this box, would I be buying it for $300, or would I be waiting around to see if it drops a little bit lower? Because there might be a better deal elsewhere. Like let's look at the 1 month here. You could see a heavy sell-off right here at around, like, hold on 1 second. Whoops. Okay, whoops. So yeah, heavy sell-off at around $340. I don't want to make this too long. That's more than 100% of the MSRP, and it's starting to fall off. So we'll see what happens with that. So going over to Black Bolt now, we're going to talk about this. You can see that it's at a market price, or a current market price of $84. And I don't know what the MSRP of this was, but you could see that this one's a lot more stable because it came out later than Mega Evolutions. So it's like on a stable downtrend right now. But also, you could also see this, it's hard to see because this thing keeps popping up, but the volume of units sold, like 193, 174, 127, 78, and then down to 79 right here, 65. Basically what I'm saying is, like, you can see that the volume's falling off. So this is telling me that people are losing interest in the set right now. And if we look at the 1 month, it's kind of like a similar story, although the volume's a little bit more consistent. So within the past month, there's been a little bit more consistency, although overall it's still lower because we're still averaging anywhere between 15 and 20 units sold, it seems, per day. Yeah, that's per day. So there's that, but that doesn't mean there's no opportunity there. I mean, there's still some decent cards in the set for sure. Like if we look at the 6 month, you can see that it fell off entirely from its price point of $220. But does that mean that it's going to be this much or less? Or sorry, does that mean it's going to continue going down over the next few years, like 3 years, 4 years from now? It might be higher. This might be a good investment. I don't know. That could be something to think about if you're trying to, do longer plays. It's not going to be exactly ideal for someone who's trying to resell, because you want to be moving that inventory quickly. But, if you were looking to invest in something longer play, you can go into Black Bolt, and I'm pretty sure that I would imagine White Flare is going to be on the same general path here. Yeah, look at that. So, I mean, they're pretty much on the same thing. So it depends on how you look at it. This could be opportunity, this could be crash, and it's okay to sit on the sidelines. It's okay to buy a little bit. It's okay to, sell some if you want to. That's really all your decision. But this is why I want to do this, because you can see that we have different reactions to different sets in the market. And if sets are tied together, you can see that there also is some type of synchronicity between the two, which is very interesting to me. So we're moving over to, do I even need to cover White Flare? That's kind of like the same thing. We just kind of looked at that. So no, I think we'll skip that. We'll go to Destined Rivals Booster Box. So right now that is sitting at $393 of a market price. Okay. Oh, we got to drop this one down. We're going to take a look at the 3 month first. So overall, it's resting at about 388, and it had about a low of 300 and a high of 454. So this looks like a pretty stable, healthy uptrend, right? I mean, there's decent volume here. We're averaging about 20 to 40 sales per day. Price is steadily going up. It seems that this price is pretty much agreed upon. Now, don't get me wrong, things could crash. These are inflated right now. Let's look up the MSRP of Destined Rivals. Let's see here. Hold on a second. Destined Rivals MSRP. So that was $60 for, no, that's an Elite Trainer box. I want to find out the booster box. Hold on one second here. So we're going to look up Destin Rivals booster box MSRP. And let's see. Okay, so the same thing, about 160 to 161. So it seems like that's pretty much just the general starting price for booster boxes. Now let's go back to Destin Rivals. And we're looking at August. So starting at August, it was already at 300. And here we are, September, October. So nearly 2 months later, and it's just been holding. So, I mean, some investments are worthwhile, right? Some are gonna hold over time. And the thing is like, even if it crashes, there's still a possibility that people will want to come back in and collect this for later because they'll look at it as a buying opportunity. I mean, I don't know how possible this is because I haven't really sold any cards yet, but you could technically sell a box of this at 450, right? And when you get that cash and price comes all the way down to, 380, you could take that cash and buy the box back, and now you have the same box, and then you just pocketed the difference of the cash. Of course, I don't understand the whole fee structure of selling things like this just yet, so I could be wrong. But I don't know, man. I mean, if you had nothing else to do and you had the ability to sell the top, why not sell a box at 450 if you're already sitting on 10 and, wait for the price to go down? And if it doesn't go down, you still have 9 boxes to ride it up. And then if it does go down, you can buy back that box and pocket the difference and reinvest that difference into your business. So there's that. Looking like a stable, healthy uptrend. And then on the 1 month, 1 month, there's way more volume compared to Black Bolt and White Flare. I mean, I guess it's a little bit more volatile because on the other days, it's generally the same, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But there was a particular day in October where there was a lot more units sold, which is pretty interesting. So I wonder what was happening there. But okay, so that's Destin Rivals. We're going to go to Journey Together booster box now. That's sitting at about 252. So this is on the cheaper side, and that does not mean that it's not as fun to collect. It could be just as fun to collect, especially if it's not hurting your wallet as much. So this one for 3 months, we started out at a low of 240, and now we're sitting at a high of 263. So this one is much less volatile, and you can very clearly see that. It is still way higher than the MSRP, which would be around $160. So it's up about $100 from that point. However, if you look at this 3-month period, we're only fluctuating in a range of about $20. But the volume is still rather consistent. It is a little bit lower, but it is on a day-to-day basis consistently coming in from customers, right? So that's pretty cool. I mean, that shows that this pack is, or this set is at least somewhat active, right? And its price is holding, right? Because this is a stable uptrend. And this is what I was talking about. Now, on something like this, you probably would not be able to do what I was talking about where you sell and buy lower. I just don't see that happening. But the basic principle is the same. If you found a more volatile thing, let's say Mega Evolutions, this was a Mega Evolutions and right here was $200 and this was $2,000 and this right here was I don't know, $1,000. That's situations where, selling up here and buying down here could work, because then after all, whatever fees would happen, then you'd be in a position where you can actually make some good money. Nevertheless, I digress. So that's going to cover Journey Together, and we're going to head over to Prismatic Evolution. So this one's an Elite Trainer box, and this one's sitting at a whopping $140 when the MSRP for Elite Trainer boxes are typically sitting around $60. That's pretty hefty pricing. That's about 130% increase. Now, if we look at our 3-month data, we actually were at $100 about 3 months ago, and now we're sitting at $130 to $140. So roughly about a 30% increase just from the past 3 months alone, almost 40%. And that's that's showing a lot of popularity, at least back in the back 3 months, because what's interesting is you can see a lot of buying happen down here at this price point at $100. Look at all the volume that came in. You got 80, 100, 120, 140 units coming in easy. And then as soon as price comes up here, it tapers off immediately. And this is what's interesting because I'm thinking about, as I'm looking at this, like a lot of they talk about scalpers driving prices up. I don't think that they'd be able to drive price up forever, even if they were driving the price up because of something like this. Like, even if you drive the price up, you can list it at that price all day long, but if people don't buy, then the volume is going to taper off and the money is going to stop pouring in and the liquid is going to be less liquid, or the liquidity is going to be less liquid. So that is another thing too. I mean, we see that this price is going up, and now this is what I'm wondering, like, this is going up just like those other what were the other ones? The Journey, was it? No, I think it was Journey. Yeah, it was Journey. Yeah, it was Journey and was it Destined Rivals? Yeah, Destined Rivals and Journey together. So those two are showing decent uptrends, although Journey together is still although Journey together is you know, in a much tighter range. But anyway, with the whole prismatic evolutions thing, the point is with Journey together, the volume is still relatively the same, regardless of where this price is, and you can make the same argument for Destined Rivals. In fact, the volume for Destined Rivals has a bit higher spikes during its highest price point. So that, to me, says that, you know, Destined Rivals and Journey together is a little bit more stable. Whereas Prismatic Evolutions, you have this Elite Trainer box at $100 doing so much volume in terms of units. And then once we get up here, it just completely falls off. So that makes me wonder, where is the next price point for, what is this, Prismatic Evolutions? Are we going to continue higher from here, or are we going to revisit this $100 price point and maybe get a discount, you know, soon? That'd be pretty cool. So now we're going to move on to our Surging Sparks booster box, and we are almost done here. We got a few more left. This one's sitting at a market price of $260. And this one's looking much cleaner, much like the Destined Rivals and the Journey together, where you have this clear, consistent, healthy volume. And in fact, I would say it's even more so because it's sitting in the 20 and 30 range on a day-to-day basis, while also maintaining that stable, healthy uptrend. Now, if you're looking for long-term investments, this might be something worth looking at. You have stable volume, you have stable price increase, and I think that's part of the recipe for longer-term success. You know, we're not talking about buying it now and selling it tomorrow. I'm talking about if you were looking for collecting and you're looking to add a little value to your collection without having to spend so much money, this could be something to look at. I mean, there's, like I said, there's consistent volume, there's decent price movement up, and it's not huge, right? Because we're at 245 here, and we're sitting at we'll just say 270 here, so it's about a $25 increase, so 10% increase. But here's the thing. If you bought down here and you're holding 3 months later, there's not many things that's going to give you a 10% return in 3 months. In fact, if you take that and multiply it times 4, that brings us out to a year. You're looking at a 40% return if you continue that trajectory. There's not a lot of things that are going to give you 40% return over the course of a year, especially when you're talking about, I guess, what you would consider a mid-tier booster box. So, I mean, that's that. You have your Surging Sparks, and what we're going to do is now move on to Stellar Crown. So Stellar Crown sitting a little bit higher at $290, almost $291, but oh my god, I was not expecting that. Okay, so what in the world do we have here? So I guess there's just, oh, so I guess there's just no more? Is that it? No, there's things listed right here. Are people just not buying it? Are people just not interested? I don't know what's going on with that. That's crazy. So I don't know, that I feel like that's like a glitch or something, because I mean, you have items being sold, sitting at, you know, between $220 and this literally looks like a meme coin. But anyway, it's at like $220 to $250. So $30 increase, and then just completely falls off. But the thing is there's still sales listed, so I don't know, that's confusing. I really don't know what to think about Stellar Crown. Maybe one of you guys could let me know in the comments if you happen to know. That'd be cool. I might have to Google it myself as well. But if that's the case, we'll just go ahead and move on to our Shrouded Fable Elite Trainer box. So this one Now that's is interesting. It's actually sitting at $71, which is not too much higher than the original MSRP, which was at like I said, around 60 for Elite Trainer boxes. So we did have a low point here at in our 3-month period during August where we actually were at the MSRP, and whoever bought it, I guess there's sitting pretty good. It's not like get filthy rich type money, but if you bought down here at 60 and you managed to hold it all the way up to here to 80, that's a solid 30% gains. Those are the types of things you never know where this is going to come from. 30% gains from here, and then other boxes have insane percent gains. Like if you were lucky enough to get a Mega Evolutions box at MSRP, for example, I mean, you're sitting pretty nice. But I mean, these are the things that I want to look at over time, and I want to start analyzing, what the trends are and what the behaviors are, and kind of, what sets I might want to start collecting or not collecting, maybe holding off until a later time. This one is a little bit interesting though, because you can see that the volume is clearly much lower in terms of units sold, but it is still holding a relatively healthy upward price action. And when you consider that generally the volume, even though it's lower, is sitting around the same average day to day and having at least one. I mean, on these days, there was only 1 unit sold, but overall, there's general activity on a day-to-day basis. There was even a big spike here of 40 items sold. So that seems pretty cool. I mean, maybe it'd be cool to get a few boxes of that. And then I think we're going to move on to our last one here. So our last one is Twilight Masquerade Booster Box. Okay, so this one's sitting at $309, almost $310. So remember, up from an MSRP of about $160, that's about $140. So we're sitting at almost 100% increase from the MSRP price. Now this one's looking interesting because it just has this straight line up. We had a low back in August 7th where we were sitting at about $270. And then all the way up to October 8th, roughly, we hit about $330. While the volume pretty much stayed consistent. I mean, there was a bit more volume during the lower price points, but the volume pretty much stayed at an average throughout the whole price run up. Although I will say that I can see that it's still incredibly low. Like a lot of these boxes are at less than 10 units per day, but it is an older set. So, maybe this is the natural, way that things fall off over time as sets become more and more outside of their original print date. These are the things that I got to learn as I get more into the card market. But, like that makes me wonder, like low volume, but stable price increasing, older set. Could this be something that you buy and hold for the future? I don't know. But with that being said, that is going to wrap up our weekly market recap. So we got our 10 latest sets. I hope you enjoyed the first video. There's going to be plenty more. Remember to subscribe with the bell, like the video, and comment with your favorite Pokemon with the hashtag PokeMaph. And you're going to be entered for a chance to win a free pack of Pokemon cards next week. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. And have a good day. Thank you for watching.